Hi, welcome to the Soyle Podcast. I'm Jack.
And I'm SK.
Still no Tom.
He's dead.
This episode's going to be a little different. We're going to be, instead of talking about the process of storytelling, we're going to be talking about the process of talking about storytelling.
How we tell storytelling stuff.
What goes into making these podcasts, what some of our resources are that we usually refer to when we're talking about it. What's changed probably over time since the first one to this one. How that's evolved. That sort of stuff. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around.
This just sounds like an excuse for me to get mad at everything. I mean, everything is kind of an excuse for me to get mad at everything. But I'd like to... I cut out the bit from the last episode about me being a well-rounded human being. And I kept it for podcast extras. Watch out for that. But every time I feel like I'm cutting out the most reasonable parts of my personality. It's like, oh, that's boring. Well, that sounds like a decent point. Too bad you're not mad. Delete.
So you're forcing yourself into becoming the caricature of yourself?
It's like any person on YouTube, you have to know that to a certain degree they're a persona. Yeah. It's like, well, what you see in front of the camera is not what you see behind it. And right now we don't even have a camera. Yeah. So I just wonder if I'm painting a caricature of myself to just be fucking mad all the time. Which I am a good portion of the time, but not all the time. I wonder about my image. I know that no one gives a fuck about it, but I wonder.
I think it's fine. People enjoy the mad. Because it's on YouTube. It's all about the performance.
So fake.
It's not really that fake. I mean, you do get
mad.
I
do get mad, I guess it is. It's actually probably more genuine than... Oh, wow. Okay, we're getting meta about me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but that's not what this is about.
Okay, we're talking about podcast. Yeah. How does the podcast work? Hey, guys, how do you make a podcast? It turns out any idiot can do it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, look at us. So I wanted to talk about the journey thus far. Fuck.
Damn, salute. Do we have a nostalgic collage to show?
Yeah, really. Get the wave effect as we transition into...
It's just gonna... I wish I had a picture of my closet set up.
Yeah.
That would be so good.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Just get a fucking stock image of...
Honestly, it's the best... It's the best setup.
It's a pretty good setup. You get really high quality.
It was actually the best audio, I think, except for Tom.
Yeah.
Tom's audio is actually pretty good, but...
Now. Episode 2...
So much trouble.
If Episode 2, his audio sounds just fine, but only because I had to go through fucking frame by frame and fix it. Yeah. Because we were echoing in the background of his thing the whole time. His gain was like too high or something like that. Our process starting out was... we still kind of do this, except for today, and the previous one, but we basically... We get on Discord, so we're in different, locations. We meet up on Discord. We each have I think you still use your regular headphones and stuff for the Discord chat. Is that what you do? So
I use the mic for the Discord chat, but I listen to it through my earbuds.
I see. So the mic your mic goes into both Discord and Audacity? Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. My audio setup is a little different. I actually have 2 different laptops usually and 2 mics. So the headset on one laptop is going into Discord so we can talk, and then I have the better mic, which is the one we're using right now, for the hooked up to my other laptop, which is I stick in the closet so that you don't hear the sound of it fucking taken off. And I also usually wear a fucking blanket over my head. And Tom's audio, he got a pretty decent headset. But his setup wasn't super great. I think he recorded in the kitchen or something. I think did he just use the mic on his computer? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I wish he was here to talk about his audio setup, but I think for the most part we have different channels essentially. One for Discord and one for Audacity for the most part. Maybe one or more microphones. So that's kind of the general idea of what we do. This one and the previous one, we've just been using my microphone in a shared room, which you heard in the last episode and now in this one. So that's why we don't have different audio channels. Normally we're able to do the waveforms for each of our stuff so you can tell who's talking, but you can't really do that when you only have the one audio channel. Right. So it's a little bit reminiscent of the previous 30 episodes that came out.
The beta podcast.
Yeah. That one was a little bit less focused.
It was a lot less focused.
Yeah.
Every other one was just rant.
Pretty much.
Rant.
I mean, it was for the most part, it was still just you raging about something.
Lest we forget, the podcast was never my idea. That's something I think needs to be said, is that the podcast is not my idea, and it's not for me to be mad about stuff. I just happen to be very passionate about certain things, and it comes out in the form of rage. But I don't use the podcast as a fucking way to vent my frustrations. I do, but not on purpose. This isn't for my ego. This is to prove that I actually know what I'm talking about. And if I could not be mad about it while I'm talking about it, I would be like 30% more credible.
If only.
If only.
That's your character arc.
I don't want to go through it. I like this part.
One of the other things that we do, right, is we have like a master podcast ideas document. A lot of times while we're doing the podcast. I think sometimes we leave in, we don't edit out the moments where we'll go, oh, that's a whole other podcast episode, right? Those are the times when we jot down, oh, we're going to do another podcast. Yeah,
sometimes good ideas come from the idea you want it to be good.
Yeah, we tend to do that a lot. So we have pretty much a master document of all of our upcoming podcast ideas and all the ones we've done thus far. We might have to change that up as we get more and more podcasts. We might just need to not have the list of ideas we've already done, just because that might get unwieldy.
If you have ideas, put them in the comments section, please. Even if they're dumb.
We like dumb ideas.
I love dumb ideas. They're the best ones. Episode 7.
Yes, that one was very much...
I love getting mad about shit.
That one was very much SK's baby. I tried really hard on that one to come in there with structural ideas and stuff.
Nah, fuck you. I was annoyed that Tom didn't get mad.
Yeah.
I wish he would have flown off about something, but
he just kind of got marginally upset about like mothers, and that was kind of it.
That's a whole other podcast.
Here's the big transition though, right? From episode 1 to now, how our process has changed slightly, right? Before I was doing the editing, and then I sent the edited audio off to you to then put together the visuals of it. And now I can't be asked.
Can't be fucked. You got more important things to do.
So
not in a snide way, literally. More important things to do.
Now it's all on SK.
Now I'm the podcast master.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, fuck you.
See,
leave a comment. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. Okay, I'll take that into account. That goes right in the bucket. The bucket of bad ideas.
So the editing process has changed slightly. Occasionally, Tom will chip in with reference images, but I think for the most part, you're still...
I'm too egotistical. I don't like the images he picks. No, there's nothing really wrong with them, but it's like I really need certain aspect ratios, and
right.
It's easier to cut when they're all the same size.
Mm-hmm. And
he happens to pick like the weirdest copyright-free images, and it's like I get it. Ideally I'll pick copyright-free ones, but for the most part, those aren't the good ones. Those aren't very good. You might as well take them in your kitchen.
Yeah. Because that's what they look like. They're just like somebody's random image that they just posted.
And those are fine if you're really trying to be cognizant of not using copyrighted material, but it's fair use. Get off my dick. It's fair use.
I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made there.
That it's not fair use?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
There's an argument to be made. It doesn't mean it's the right one.
I mean, I'm not the one who's going to make the argument because, I mean... I don't want to make our jobs even harder.
If I'm talking about Lord of the Rings and I'm critiquing Lord of the Rings, am I not supposed to use a picture of Lord of the Rings to reference it?
Exactly.
I'm not saying look at Lord of the Rings, it fucking sucks. Although I do say that about other stuff.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Yeah, that's the other way. I'm just an idiot. So, who's going to trust me?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Leave a comment down below if you trust us.
Yeah, leave a comment. This is the comments episode. We like... If you've commented 3 times already, which I know you haven't, don't lie, you might as well just start... building a master comment and then post it at the end with all the time tags.
Oh, yeah.
So you can answer all the questions at once.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you do, there might be something in it for you. Just stay tuned.
Well, the other thing that we used to do, right, was so we'd pick a topic, right? We'd rifle through our list and go, okay, which one do we want to talk about today or in this upcoming one? And what we would do is we would each kind of initially we actually just worked on the whole like master note document together. We just like figured out the structure of the whole thing, not necessarily a script, but like but just like an outline of kind of what we wanted to bring up. And that was fine, but what ended up happening was we kind of felt it felt like we were reading off a script anyway.
It got exhausting when we were actually recording.
Yeah,
because we had done a rehearsal essentially.
Yeah,
when we were composing the notes, and then we had done an actual rehearsal the day before to sort of make sure that everyone covered the ideas they wanted to cover. And by the time we got to actually recording it, we were just exhausted with the idea.
Yeah.
And we couldn't remember the organic tangents that took us in really special places.
Well, that was the other like slight change we made, right? Because originally, I think the first 2 or 3 episodes, it was just the one document. We didn't even have separate notes at that point. It was just we all just got into a document and started working on the outline together. And like as we would talk about it or whatever, but we'd put it in there. And then we'd do a dry run to make sure it all kind of fit, or we knew what we were doing. And then we would go and record the real one like the next day. But it still felt like we were like reading off a script, even though it was just an outline. And so what we tried to do was go, okay, well, and we would also, step on each other's toes. We weren't sure who was supposed to be taking what. We would one person would write a point, but felt like they were talking too much, so they wanted to give that point to somebody else, but then the other person didn't know quite how to deliver it because they didn't know the nuances of the point.
Yeah.
So it kind of became an issue. So what we tried to do then was break it up into everybody did their own notes first, then we put them together into a master document right beforehand, organized them, and like color-coded them so we knew who was talking about what, and we tried to do a dry run. And when we did the dry run, we'd move the notes around and try to make that work. Then we'd go and record the actual podcast, and like SK just said, we couldn't remember the organic way one led into the other. So it still kind of became a bit of a mess, and there were some weird transitions that happened.
Yeah, it just turned out that the dry run version of let's move the notes around and I want to talk about this real quick, just editing around that was easier than trying to facetiously move from point to point.
Right. And now we still take notes beforehand. Well, the last one we also had Sequoia on.
Yeah.
Who, and that was kind of like more of it
was like a halfway interview.
Yeah, so it didn't quite make sense to have notes because we weren't going to ask her to do that because she was supposed to kind of be the guest. It was fine. So yeah, these past two haven't had notes, but for the most part, we tend to each write our own notes, and then we just come in with those. Maybe we make sure if somebody has a similar point, maybe we group those together so we know. But we keep it color-coded, and then we just kind of go. And as the dry run is essentially the thing that we record. And so hopefully it makes it feel a bit more organic.
It's just better that way because everybody's still kind of excited.
Yeah.
And they haven't had the chance to have their ideas bounce around yet.
Right. That's kind of what we've been doing now. So that's our process at the moment in terms of notes and recording and everything. Do you want to talk about post-production?
Yeah, sure.
Because that's a beast.
I gotta say, you would think that a podcast wouldn't be that hard to do. Truth be told, it's really not. The startup part is the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's figuring out the process and figuring out how you actually create the tangible podcast video.
Because, I mean, we had the first and second episodes, I think, recorded, possibly even the third one, before we even released, I think, the first episode, because we were still kind of figuring all the stuff out.
We had like a backlog of 3 or so.
Yeah.
To be fair, at the time, we were doing a lot of branding,
mm-hmm.
so we didn't know what the actual layout of the video was supposed to look like. But,
you want to talk about
God damn it.
After Effects?
I love After Effects so much. I hate it, but I love it so much. It's so powerful. So, when you're using After Effects, I don't use Premiere because I think After Effects is more useful.
Yeah.
When you're using After Effects, it's a reference-based program, so it doesn't actually use stuff inside the program. It references files and things outside of it. So when you go to render it, that's when it starts using things. So it's actually pretty lightweight, considering After Effects is the heaviest of those lightweight things.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to plug in things from new episodes and old ones. So if I construct a whole episode in After Effects, I can basically use that as a template for the rest of them. So I can just pull the audio out, shorten all the composition so that everything's the right length, and then just plug everything back in.
Right.
And it's pretty easy once you have that all set up. The thing is, Adobe doesn't like me using free trials anymore, so I had to finally bite the bullet and find a software that I could do After Effects type things in that wasn't Adobe. So I started using DaVinci Resolve, which, in all fairness, is totally fine. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm assuming I don't like it because it's a lot like Premiere, and I don't like Premiere.
Yeah.
And I wish it could do more of what After Effects does.
Yeah.
I don't like node behavior. I don't like the Fusion node setup in DaVinci. Fucking hate it. The point being that everything is very cumbersome.
Yeah.
Creating audio waveforms, it requires 2 plugins, a whole Fusion composition just to explain it. And then not only can you not create the waveform and just like move it around, you have to duplicate it and then merge it and duplicate and merge within the nodes. It's fucking horrible. I'll show a screenshot of the nodes.
Okay.
It's fucking terrible. It doesn't look complicated. It doesn't look like there's much going on, but you adjust one number, you don't know what it's supposed to fucking do.
And the whole thing breaks.
The whole thing fucking breaks.
Yeah.
So let me just gripe about this. There's I forget if it's the echo node or if it's the actual rectangle node. There's an X offset adjustment. Basically, when you create the audio waveform, you create the 1 tick mark. And then you duplicate that tick mark and then offset them in time. So one moves and the rest kind of follow, and that's the waveform. And you can offset them by any number, essentially. And it starts at 0.5. So I set it to 1. I thought, okay, 0.5, sure, let's offset it by 1. That should move it 1 unit over, right?
No.
It doesn't. And it doesn't work. And I'm thinking, okay, I can still see it, so it's not broken.
Because it's 0.5 of like the whole screen, isn't it?
It's 0.5 of I don't know what.
Oh, okay.
Because if I move it 0.51, if I move it 0.01 over, I can still see it.
Okay.
The range of how much of that waveform you can actually see is 0.5 to 0.55. 0.55 is off the screen. That's where the tick marks end up being too far apart to see.
Wow.
So the range is within the hundredths. And if you're a fucking idiot like me, if you're a fucking dumbass, if you're just a simpleton with a Cro-Magnon brain, you wouldn't think that the range would be 0.5 to 0.55. You would think that it's reasonable numbers, like 1 to 10 maybe.
Yeah.
But no, it's in the hundredths. And it took me fucking 4 hours to figure out that all my shit was flying off the edge, and that's why my nodes weren't working. Oh my god. I'm talking black magic at this point.
Right.
DaVinci, fucking figure this shit out. What is wrong with your forums? No one knows anything. No one knows how to fix anything. Everything is broken. Why does everything need a workaround?
Yeah, really.
Why do I need to copy my fusion composition into a new one because the first one breaks for no reason? I couldn't use the waveforms. They broke after the first 100 frames. So I had to copy the whole thing into a new one, and then it worked fine. Literally the exact same. If I could duplicate it, I would have. I don't understand. Why is everything broken? Why don't the mods know anything? No one answers any questions. And then the most important ones, like, well, why doesn't the render work? Why does the render fail every time?
No one knows.
No one knows. No one knows. The workaround is redo it.
Yeah.
Do it differently.
How differently? We don't know.
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
Somehow it needs to be different. Oh, man.
I fucking hate DaVinci so much. And I really couldn't tell you if the render time, the absolute god-awful fucking render time, is really just the setup. Mm-hmm. If it's the computer I'm using in the meantime while mine's getting fixed.
Yeah.
Or what. But 30 fucking hours is too long.
For an less than hour long video.
For the fucking 45-minute render. And that's down from 72 hours.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm wondering if...
Why? What does compression do? There's no difference. Also, why can't it predict? It doesn't give an estimation.
Oh.
The estimation climbs for the first 8 hours.
Hmm.
So you're looking at it and it says, 4 hours. Like, that sounds reasonable. 4 hours. 4 hours, 10 minutes. 4 hours, 20 minutes. 4 hours, 30 minutes. And then you walk back in 10 minutes after you've had fucking dinner or whatever. You're like, I'll check on it. You go in there and you look at it, and it's 6 hours, 25 minutes, and it's still climbing. And not only do you not know, it's until it gets halfway do you realize, okay, that's the real time.
Yeah.
And then it starts going down. What's the point of estimating time? If you can't tell me what the estimate is, stop trying. Just say, long time, boy. Come back later.
All it's doing is like, how much have I done?
I understand. Yeah, it's doing an estimate right now. It's doing the fucking... It's doing like the integral. You know, it's like, right here. It's the fucking Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It's like, this is the trajectory right now. But fuck me, in a second, it's going to be fucked.
I'm wondering, though, like, so in you working with DaVinci and, like, trying to figure out how to do certain things, like, I'm wondering if it's just because DaVinci has a different, like, mental model you have to be working with to fuck with it. Because After Effects has a way of doing things, and DaVinci has a different way of doing things, right? After Effects, it's like, you just, like, apply an effect to a certain thing, or you can do all the effects in a composition and then step out of it, and all that's done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's in the composition, and you just place that composition or trim it down or whatever. And it's sort of like this layered kind of thing. Whereas in DaVinci, you don't quite have that same kind of mental model, right? It's all like nodes and stuff. Yeah, and I don't know how to map between the two, so I can't help either. But I'm just wondering if like the difficulty is just not is trying to apply the mental model from After Effects into DaVinci to do the same thing.
I understand what it's trying to do.
Right.
I understand the node behavior. Node behavior is more powerful than After Effects' just effect behavior. You can do more nuanced things. The thing is, I don't need to do any of that shit.
Right.
I totally understand. I don't want to work with Nuke because Nuke is all nodes. From what I've heard, it's like there's not even a fucking. It's just nodes. You just start nodes. It's like, okay, you need to build the viewer.
Gross.
Out of nodes. It's like, okay, you want to see the footage? Build it first. You're building a fucking program from scratch in Nuke. The thing is, you could do whatever you want in Nuke. It's that powerful.
Right.
And DaVinci seems like it's the halfway point. I just don't see what you would need to do in DaVinci that you would need that kind of powerful node behavior. It's not like it's 3D modeling. It's not like it's got particle effects. It might have particle effects, but I don't want to do that in there. Right. That's what fucking Maya's for.
Right. And I mean, I also noticed that like the in DaVinci, the way that we're doing the audio waveforms, it's like you said, it's moving the audio off by a certain amount, right? So you have like it's basically just volume, right? Is really what you're looking at there, but just in time. So it kind of looks like the actual waveform you see in Audacity or whatever else, just like moving across the screen. Whereas in After Effects, I think After Effects is the waveform was the frequency instead. So when you were talking really low, you would have like the leftmost side of your waveform moving up and down. But if you're talking really high pitched, then the the right side of it would be really high. So it's a different thing. I don't know. It's different. I like the way it looks with DaVinci.
Yeah, the quality of it's nice.
It's like really kind of smooth and stuff. Like with the frequency waveform in After Effects, it's more sporadic.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's not organic looking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as nice looking. It doesn't represent the speaking as well as the DaVinci version does.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool. But I think most people are expecting the frequency one because like when you look at music videos or whatever, where it's not like really a video. It's just some image with the frequency waveform basically on there. That's what most people see and expect. So it's just an interesting way of differentiating us, which I hope we can actually like when you are able to get your hands on After Effects again, if ever. It'd be interesting to see.
I don't plan on doing After Effects, but I don't have to.
Simply because we'd have to pay for it or do some other way of getting a free trial.
Well, if this works, I don't see a problem with changing it. Yeah. If they take about the same amount of time to like actually
render.
No.
Oh.
They take the same amount of time to edit.
Oh.
Yeah. In terms of actually setting up the render itself.
Mm-hmm.
If the render time goes down substantially with my computer, then if it's about the same, then it's close enough. Yeah. Even if it's twice as long, it doesn't really matter. Because in After Effects, it only took like an hour and a half to render on my computer.
So that feels reasonable.
That feels
45 minutes.
Right about right. And that was with the 3 waveforms. 2 waveforms with completely optimized settings was set me back fucking 36 hours. I shudder to think what will happen when 3 people decide to have their own waveforms. I'm fucking scared of that because I won't be able to use the computer for a week.
Yeah. You can always just send me the project and then I'll render it on the computer.
As an experiment, I'd love to see how long it would take.
Yeah.
I just for my own fucking reference, I'd love to know how long that would take.
Mm-hmm. It's fucked.
It's stupid. It's fucking dumb.
So if you have any ideas for how to reduce the render time on DaVinci Resolve, leave a comment.
You won't have the answer because no one has the answer. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to just stick to my stupid fucking ways because obviously I'm past that. Obviously. There's a point where pride just turns to absolute humility. I don't mean like humble humility. I mean just I'm so fucking embarrassed. I'm tired of this. I need to. It's almost more pride. It's like that's it. I'm gonna reinvent the wheel. I'm going to fix this by looking at other people's solutions.
Yeah. Well, the next step would be just making your own fucking audio editor or video editor and fucking around with that.
That's down the line.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Spoilers.
Oh, God. Damn it.
Yeah.
And then we put it on Google Drive when it renders.
Yeah.
And then we make a fucking thumbnail. Yeah. And we schedule it to upload.
Yeah. It's a good
process. If that didn't turn you off, maybe you can make your own podcast.
Yeah. Or you could, leave a comment.
Or you leave a comment, yeah. I don't know what you're commenting on, but...
Subscribe to our podcast. Now you know how much work goes into it.
Yeah. If it turned you totally off, instead of making one, you could just listen to us instead.
Exactly. Pain in the ass.
I imagine that just having footage would be so much better.
Well, yes and no. I want to transition to talking maybe about how we don't use our real names. What? Yeah, because SK is a totally real name.
It sounds like it sounds like a name.
Like the initials?
Yeah, it sounds like the initials. I can think of initials. Okay, if I said that my name was SK Reeves, it would sound like a real name, doesn't it?
Sure.
Right, there you go. So shut the fuck up.
Fair.
Jack Gleason. How was Game of Thrones, bitch?
I'm going to talk about why I have Jack as my name. And why we don't use our...
They're all fucking meme names. They're all meme names, first of all. But they don't sound like meme names unless you point it out. Except for Tom's. Tom's
Tom's definitely a meme name.
Yeah, once you know what LC stands for.
He said it in the first episode.
I know, but...
Luxury cruise!
Tom, a luxury cruise liner ship. As if Tom Cruise wasn't enough.
Right. Well, he had to make a pun out of it.
That's not a good one.
Tom Ship. What is it? 2 P's and an E?
I think it's just 2 P's. Alright, I have to check the Discord. You go on.
Well, I want to talk about the real reason we would, not just because we wanted to make memes about it. Protect your privacy online. I know we live in an age where we everybody wants to be famous or whatever.
You'd find my neighborhood instantly.
But it's just, if you can get away with not revealing your identity online, I think you should. As a kid, you don't really think about it, and I think our generation, and now the generation that's followed, aging myself.
Wow, you're outing yourself, dude. What are you, 30?
Maybe. I'm older than 25, I'll just say that. Yeah. These generations have grown up in an age where, it's acceptable, or it's a normal thing to put yourself out there, right? But if you've watched the people whose identities are out there, eventually, not always, but a lot of times, the fact that their identity is revealed, it kind of bites them in the ass. They do something stupid on, in their content in some way that is genuinely something they probably shouldn't have said, or whatever. They probably don't want to be associated with it, but now they are, because their identity is revealed. And it causes problems for them in their life. People dox people all the time. You get people showing up at people's houses, finding out where they live. It's a whole nightmare. You might not think that'll happen to you, but you never know.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
It's just my point in this is less about justifying it for me and us, but more a cautionary thing.
You want to set the precedent.
Yeah.
That you don't have to.
Yeah.
Be an internet personality to be on the internet.
Exactly. You can just make content that isn't about you, even if you are, in it, essentially, right? Because it's not about you, it's about the content. People are there for what's in the content. And, we were just talking about at the beginning of this how, to a degree, you become a caricature of yourself when you're in the content. So it's not really you there either.
Yeah, and I think that's the disconnect when it comes to someone saying something stupid. Is it the persona or is it them? And then what's the context? And does it age well?
Right.
Because most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure that half of the sort of getting outed things are, good-natured in some way. It's I say some dumb shit. And I don't mean anything by it. Mostly I say it to be funny, Yeah. But inevitably somebody is going to be like, well, you can't say that. That's not okay.
Right.
And I guess if I had the choice, I'd like to have the anonymity as a shield. Be able to say, well, it's just a character.
Yeah.
But when you can associate the character to a face, that's harder. And I think that's kind of, got to bring him up. Papa Franku, we got to bring up Filthy Frank. How does fucking George Miller get away with being Filthy Frank and then having a music career after? It's because it's a character. And he really made it into a character. He gave him his own mannerisms and everything.
Right.
And he gave him his own look. And I think that really helped him. That let him transition from the ultra cringy fucking meme lord over to being a real, fully functioning adult.
Right. But then take a look at something like H3, Ethan. Obviously, he exaggerates a lot of parts of himself for the videos, right? Like, nobody is going to be that high energy all the time, right? But because it's so very closely related to his real personality and his real name and everything, people have found out where they live, like, multiple times and they've had to move, People get really, really mad at him if he says anything that goes against their whatever opinion they have. Doesn't even matter if it's political or not. He gets a lot of flack, and I think that is possibly because his real identity is out there, and people think that that's his real opinion because of it. Yeah, even if it wasn't, it's still his real identity. People know who he is.
Yeah, so. He's riding the line of, do I mean this because I mean it, or am I saying it because it's a joke? And it's hard because he doesn't have that differentiation between his YouTube persona and himself, and I think his podcast has actually made it worse.
Right. Because
now we get to see him in a way where it's not edited in a really,
goofy
extended way.
Yeah.
So his real personality is a lot harder to manage over that much amount of time. You can't do a 3-hour podcast and keep character the entire fucking time. It's too hard. So I think for him specifically, it's like, for him to stay relevant and continue to be relevant, he has to keep doing the kind of content he makes. And I think that he's sort of past the point of really having fun with it. I don't think that he's enjoying it much anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that not a lot of H3 videos come out anymore.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. That's his life, and he can do whatever he wants from it. I totally understand that. But I can't argue against people who say that he's being inflammatory in the instances where it's like, well, geez, even I'm a fan and I can't get behind you, dog.
Right.
Why are you acting like this? Even if it is a joke, it's hard to tell the difference.
Right.
So, I mean, to your point, I would say that anonymity helps. But if we were to do visual, like I would do the boxes on the head thing or some kind of costume or something to differentiate me from that.
Yeah.
Me from SK, essentially.
Right.
And I think that would actually be kind of fun because then it's a character. You know?
It very much, yeah.
Then it's a real character. I think that would help people. If you wore a silly hat all the time or whatever, or something fucking stupid, had a cat in your lap the whole time like Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fucking matter. But yeah, the YouTube persona versus the real person. It's weird to have YouTube and like business going at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing for H3 is that he's selling merch. And it's not like dumb fucking A-Bows, you know, it's not fucking Filthy Frank merch. It's Teddy Fresh merch.
Right. That's like a legit thing.
That's their business.
Yeah.
That's Ethan and Ela Klein's business.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't sell it under the H3 banner because it's not really H3 shit. I think they just doubled down on the YouTube persona. Now there's what the line is. I don't know it.
Right.
I don't know where it is.
And I mean, you know, I didn't want to devolve into this all being about H3 either. I mean, I think that's just a good example.
No, I'm just using
how it can bite you in the ass. And actually, I got the thing that made me actually start thinking about this before we really got started was a YouTuber that I watch. Here we go. It's a Minecraft YouTuber called Exumavoid. You know, he pretty much going into it was had that exact same mentality of I'm not gonna put my identifying information about myself out there at all. It's all about the content I'm making, right? And what that's allowed him to do is, obviously he's maintained his anonymity throughout everything. I don't think he's ever had a scandal of any kind. I don't think that's really related to him, his like anonymity. I think that's just the way the person he is. He's just making Minecraft. He's
not scandalous.
Yeah, and it's not super high energy Minecraft videos that like, you know, the stereotypical things are where it's like, hey guys, you know, and shouting. He's like, hey man, you know, we're gonna build some stuff here and do this stuff, right? But he also live streams and everything. People ask all the time, like, oh, face reveal and how old are you, and you know, all this different stuff. And he has moderators who are always like on top of saying, nope, you know, all it reveals that he's older than 27 or you know, whatever it is. But that's it. In those live streams and things, what's ended up happening is people ask him big, you know, deep questions about, you know, politics or whatever else. And he'll he answers it with a very level-headed response and tries to make sure he's considering all the different angles. He's not like necessarily stating his opinion as fact. He's just kind of, well, here's based on the things I've seen and whatever, here's kind of the way I look at it. But, you know, please let's talk about it and see, you know, what's going on. And so people will respond to him during the stream or whatever, and they'll have a very level-headed discussion the entire way through. And so even people who disagree with him politically are still following him because of the way that he presents himself in that way. But also, I would suspect that even if they are annoyed at that moment, like they disagree with what he said or whatever, there's nothing they can do about it. There's no place they can go to find out anything more about him to attack him in some way besides some mean comment or whatever. That gets overlooked by all the other people who are just like, man, I disagree with you, but I really appreciate the discussion or whatever that's happening. And he's now launched a whole other channel specifically for these kind of discussion things. Either it's a live stream that's been cut up for the topic he's talking about, or he makes a special video specifically for that. Still has not revealed his identity ever. He, you know, he's at 1.5 million subscribers at this point for his Minecraft thing. And, you know, people kept, every time one of the 100,000 subscriber counts was coming up, people would go, oh, you know, face reveal for this, face reveal for this. And at one point, I think when he reached 700,000, he was like, okay, here's a face reveal video on my second channel, right? And you go over there, and he had been doing like guitar videos at some point, where he was filming himself playing the guitar, but he was wearing a Scream mask. And so he had a video of face reveal, and he was wearing a Scream mask, and he's like, all right, here we go. And he pulls off the Scream mask, and there's another Scream mask underneath.
Classic.
So it's just following him, listening to him, a lot of the same points that we brought up are things that he brought up. And it made me realize before we got started, like, yeah, you probably want to maintain your anonymity. Like, I've listened to podcasts or whatever, interviews with somebody like David Tennant. He's talked about his experience with that. And the fact is, and you can find those things on your own, but the point is, he's talked about how anonymity is something that once you lose it, you can't get it back. There's a lot that comes with being anonymous that you don't think about. And so it's just an important thing, something you shouldn't just give away without thinking about it. You know, once you make something that's really big, you're probably going to put your name to it, and probably people are going to know who you are. But until that moment happens, if you're just making YouTube videos or whatever, consider doing it anonymously, simply because you are protecting yourself in that way. So I just wanted to kind of touch on it because it's something you see a lot of people of our generations not considering, and, you know, I think it's an important thing to remind people of.
If you send a selfie to somebody, don't put your mailing address with it.
Yeah.
Don't put mail on the counter behind you. What are you, an idiot?
Check the metadata on that photo before you send it, too, because it might have tracked where it was and whose phone it was taken on.
That's a lot of work. But yeah.
I'm just saying, be aware of it.
Yeah. If everyone would just get real cool about a bunch of stuff.
Real quick!
that would be great.
Yeah.
But nobody is.
I mean, we don't intend to be saying anything that's going to be that
I don't care. I don't want to get punished for saying something stupid.
Right. Like, say somehow, in some way, something that one of us says is taken out of context somewhere else, like for our real names, like under our real identities, right? And people want to do something about that or whatever. I don't know why, I don't know what, but just hypothetical. By having the distance between ourselves and this, it also protects this from getting, cancel cultured if for somehow we're ever involved in some sort of scandal. So it's something to consider. If you're thinking about doing your own podcast, consider doing it anonymously first. Until you make it real big. Then, I mean, you might not be able to escape.
God damn it.
But if it's on YouTube, you can probably stay anonymous the whole time. You can be PewDiePie and still be anonymous. He just chose not to be.
Why do we need to see streamers' faces?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yep.
That seems like a product of you have to show your face online.
Mm-hmm.
Streamers. Streamers watching. Can you explain why you show your face? Because if it's just for the reactions, shut up. That's stupid.
It is.
It's fucking...
I don't enjoy... that's the thing. I don't enjoy the faces that streamers make or whatever. Like, I'm not appreciative of that. There are a lot of people who do like that. I think especially kids. But they react to a lot of big expressions anyway because they're still kind of learning how to express themselves.
Yeah. I can understand for kids content. That's what fucking Blue's Clues is for, dog. Yeah. That's why they put Steve in Blue's Clues. So it's not just fucking dogs running around solving mysteries. There's a fucking idiot walking around too. It's just like, we gotta look at the clues, Blue. Yep. Look around for the fucking dog that's not real. I wonder how fucking dumb Steve felt on Blue's Clues when he was running around that fucking set. Just
probably no dumber than any other.
I'm sure. I'm sure at the time it was cutting edge. He was like, "Oh shit, this is TV." I'm Steve on Blue's Clues. Every kid is going to know me, and we all do. Isn't Steve like a heavy metal drummer now or something?
God, I don't know. I didn't keep up with Steve after he left Blue's Clues.
Damn. See, I couldn't watch Blue's Clues after that, because for one thing, I was getting on in years.
Yeah.
I was getting to the point where Power Rangers was more a thing than Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
I didn't like Steve's replacement. I don't like his cousin or whatever.
Or whatever it was, yeah.
Jeff or whatever his fucking name was.
I don't know.
Adam, Bill. Look it up. I want to know. I don't like to make fun of people unless I can be accurate about it.
Was he replaced as well? Like, have they just been going?
Yeah, there's a new guy now.
Like, surely you can't do that for that long.
So the other guy's name is Donovan Patton, but that's not what his name was.
Yeah,
that's way too fucking hard for Blue's Clues.
Yeah, no, it was like Jeff or something.
As Joe. His name was Joe. I didn't like Joe.
He's the next guy.
Let's just be honest. I didn't like Joe. Also, I don't like 3D Blue's Clues. You're telling me that
3D now?
Yeah. You're telling me there isn't enough stock animation of old Blue's Clues episodes to just keep making new ones?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's the same episode every time.
Like, the kids are even going to notice. You can buy the exact same animation.
Yeah.
Flip it.
Mirror it.
Yeah, just, what's the problem? Be dumb. The thing I've been thinking about now is getting a costume together.
Okay.
So that we can do visual, because I really am so sick of the audio waveforms.
Yeah.
The rendering, it's cool and all, but I act like I'm inside of DaVinci, like I'm chiseling away at the waveform, like I'm fucking painting it every frame. I act like I'm doing all the work, and the computer's just fucking, please kill me. Because it's rendering for 3 days straight. Which I was really worried that it was going to fall asleep. I was really worried it was going to fall asleep and be like, ooh, failed. Sorry, you weren't watching for 10 straight hours? Fucking idiot. I would love to have some kind of costume or apparel. Yeah. I just want like a helmet. Straight up Daft Punk level, just fucking... Yeah. Even auto-tune.
Oh my god.
What's up, boys?
Oh my god. We could become the Melonheads.
Oh, damn it. I don't want to own Melonheads. Melonhead! You could be the Melonhead. Everyone else could be something else.
Fuck.
Let us know in the comment section below if you want a paranormal series, because we've been working on a paranormal series for a long time.
2, actually.
2 paranormal series. One much easier and much closer to actually something we could do with. Yeah. If you want to see some, like, 90s VHS level of, haunting, or, lost tapes, or lost files, or whatever. What was it?
Yeah, it was Lost Tapes, yeah.
No.
What was it called?
Yeah.
The Occult Files.
The Occult Files. If this video gets 10 likes, let's shoot for the stars. If this video gets 20 likes, we'll release the Occult Files, episode 1, October 31st.
Ooh, of some year.
No, of this year, 22.
What was that? Your audio?
I don't know. This year, the current year.
Yeah, the current year. The current year you're listening to this. Obviously. You. The one, we're talking to you.
If you want some really fucking great, it even has subplots.
There was so many.
There's a subplot for it. Alright, we've asked you to comment a lot in this video. I'm going to ask you to do it again.
Well, luckily, this video is going to be live.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get some live chat going.
Okay, buds. Hopefully it won't just be us next time around. Not that we're not great, but also I don't really want to do the waveforms. I don't know where I'm going with that. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this video...
If you're fucking as sad as I am right now, you better like, comment, and subscribe, boy.
Oh, man.
If you want that fucking Occult Files video on Halloween of 2020, you need to get this comment and this video liked up. Yeah. I need that like button obliterated. I want that like button to not be functioning. I want YouTube to go down because of the likes. I want them to be saying, hey, stop pressing the like button on their Twitter because they can't post a video on YouTube.
They're going to fucking disable the entire functionality of a like button as a concept. Yeah, that's the only way.
Please, make me feel like I'm doing something.
Don't beg. It's unbecoming.
Okay.
Alright. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time with a more story-driven thing.
Yeah.